Hola! It's been 27 days without food, and today I'm going to discuss Kundalini energy versus Qi. So in the yogic tradition, there's something called Kundalini energy, and this is also studied in Kundalini Yoga. And then we also have Qi and Qigong practice, which is the Chinese version. So what is Kundalini energy? Well, Kundalini energy is basically there's an earth energy, an energy that comes from the earth, kind of stored in the ground, and through a process known as a Kundalini awakening, this energy awakens in your body, and it travels from your root chakra, your lower chakra, so that's the chakra that's most connected with the earth. So in the yogic Hindu tradition, we have the concept of chakras. Now these are energy vortexes, points at which energy enters the body. So we have 7 chakras in the yogic way of thinking. And in the Chinese way of thinking, we have energy centers in our body that tend to coincide pretty closely with the chakras. So there's many energy centers and many chakras in the body. And when we study yoga, we learn the main 7 chakras. And when we study Qigong, we learn that there's 9 palaces and 13 gates. So there's main energy centers as well as minor ones in both ways of thinking. So in both systems, whether it's yogic or Taoist Chinese way of thinking, we have the lower chakras or the lower energy centers are the more physically grounding. They connect us more to the earth and symbolically more to physical reality. And as we work our way up, the energy centers closer to our heart. We have the heart chakra in yogic way of thinking, and we have a heart energy center in Qigong, which these are like the bridges between the physical realm and the more spiritual mental realm. So in the center of our body, we also have the solar plex in yoga, and we have energy, a lot happening with energy in Qigong here as well. These are the connections between the physical and the more infinite spiritual mental realms. So there's our connection. And then in the brain, we connect to the pure potential, to the infinite energy. So we have these different levels of higher consciousness, higher awareness. So the Kundalini awakening, or the Kundalini energy, is when all of a sudden the lower connection, the lower chakras, the lower energy gates open up, and then the Kundalini energy travels up the spine, and it comes up to our minds, to the center of our brains. And it unlocks new intuition. So we start to understand more things about energy, and just the practice of yoga or Qigong, that starts to just make a lot more sense on more subtle areas. We just start to have different perceptions. We start to see the difference between our ego and the physical. Prior to something like this being awakened, we may think that we are our thoughts or we are our habits. Once this energy is awakened, we start to see that our thoughts and our habits are not us. These are just programs. So while a Kundalini awakening can happen spontaneously, it's happening to people without them even seeking it. Just all of a sudden it awakens and they have this new perception. But it can also come through training. And I actually had one, a Kundalini awakening, when I started to practice Qigong. Now, many people think that this is something that can just happen spontaneously or accidentally, and it can certainly do that. But with training, you can actually learn to awaken this energy, and having the deeper connection between the physical realm, these lower energy centers, and then bringing that up into the more emotional and then spiritually connected, basically the process of circulating energy. We want to bring up this Kundalini energy, and then as we bring it up to the higher levels, we're refining that energy, and then we can actually distill it through inner alchemy, and we can bring it down and make it more pure. So this whole process of bringing the Kundalini energy up and using it for higher purposes, higher levels of awareness, higher perception, and then programming that energy, and then we can bring it down back into our physical reality and have a deeper experience in life. So the Kundalini awakening and the Kundalini energy, these are just different words for energy. We have the pranic Indian chakras and Kundalini, and then in Qigong, in China, we talk about it as Qi and as just different kinds of Qigong energy awakening. We're using different names and different terminology for similar types of experiences. The idea here is that everybody is going to experience this differently. So when you have a Kundalini type of awakening through Qigong practice or through doing Kundalini Yoga, we're just using words to describe transcendent experiences. But if you're interested and intrigued by this, I encourage you to start practicing Qigong, because Qigong is having that similar impact of awakening that you heard about as a Kundalini awakening or Kundalini energy. We're dealing with the same types of information. We're awakening energy and awakening higher consciousness. And spinning universe Qigong, the type of Qigong that I'm exploring and sharing in this channel, I've been using it to go without food and to feel terrific and to not have the typical symptoms that people would have with not eating. To replace food energy with actual pure Qi or Kundalini energy. This is what I've been living on for the past 18 months, and it's what we're teaching with Spinning Universe Qigong. So if you haven't done so already, subscribe to my channel. I'll be teaching more about this Kundalini awakening experience through Qigong practice, and we'll also be making comparisons and tying it more to the yogic definitions as well over time. So subscribe to this channel and register for my free 36-day Discovering Qi, how to basically start accessing this type of information and this type of energy with a simple daily practice that you can do for the rest of your life for greater health and just a deeper energetic life experience. I'll be back tomorrow with 28 days without food, with a full update on what it's like not to eat for 4 weeks, eating only Qi. And until then, Hao La.